Over the past 10 years, there has been an increase in the amount of coffee shops. All ages go to coffee houses for all different reasons, whether it be to socialise, a work meeting, or to do any sort of assignments. I'll be looking into what people enjoy about coffee shops and why there has been such an increase in the amount of small, independent coffee houses in Norwich. Coffee houses were first introduced in the Middle East during the 1500s. Even though no one is sure when the first coffee shop was opened, we know that it spread very quickly, especially in Vienna, which is where sweeteners were first added to coffee. The first English coffee house was opened in 1652, where it grew in popularity for meetings, catching up with friends, and all the usual social norm. All the same in modern day. During the 18th century, London coffee houses were the centre of controversy in many ways, even to the point of the king trying to ban coffee and close the establishments. Coffee culture has its origins in the early 16th century coffee houses of Arabia, where men would gather to talk and play games. There was huge disagreement of not allowing women into these coffee houses, causing quite a few problems, which then led to the Women's Petition Against Coffee, published in 1674.
So I think the high street in general is changing. With online, the internet, it's had a massive impact on what shops are working and what shops are still able to sell product. Coffee shops, hairdressers, still are a trade that are going, whilst everything else can be bought online. So I think, the coffee shop. Also the pubs. People don't really go to pubs as much as they used to. It's more the coffee shop rather than going to the bar. I think that's another reason why coffee's got so much better in the UK. I think people are more interested in shopping locally, whether it's for coffee or anything else. I think it's about supporting your local businesses, and people are more aware of that these days. So I think that's why there's more people going to independents, and of course the independent tries harder, and generally if you shop in an independent, that independent will spend money locally as well. So I think it's a good way to go. I think it's personality more than anything. So each independent has got their own individual personality depending on who's running it. The chains have to follow that kind of chain ethos, so everything is the same. You get the same quality of product, whether it's good or bad. It's just that consistency they're aiming for that you don't get in the independent, and I think that's what is so great about the independents that you do get. I would say yes. These days the coffee shop scene, as you know, is growing. It's possibly the most busy industry in the UK at the moment. I read a little fact of about 3,000 coffee shops for every person in the UK at the moment, so it's a huge number of coffee shops in the UK. I do think it's a competitive market, but I just keep doing what I like and keep sort of sharing my passion for coffee, and that seems to be doing as well.
A big reason that coffee shops are so popular amongst under 18-year-olds is that when you go out, you can't buy alcohol, so you go to a coffee shop as a way to chill out with your friends.
I think there's been a rise in independent coffee shops over the last 10 years because sort of people seem to be more passionate about coffee now and the different flavours, so I think there's been a big rise in coffee shops.
Coffee is grown in over 50 countries in Asia, Africa, South America, Central America and the Caribbean, and 67% of the world's coffee is grown in America alone. In the UK, we now drink approximately 95 million cups of coffee per day. 80% of UK households buy instant coffee for in-home consumption, particularly those aged 65 and older. Do you know that National Coffee Day is celebrated in many countries on different dates? On the high street, cafe culture has also continued to boom. 80% of people who visit coffee shops do so at least once a week, while 16% of us visit on a daily basis.
I think people like going to coffee shops because it's just a place where they can feel comfortable, sit down, interact with other people and just relax and feel comfortable.
What do you think makes a good coffee shop?
I think a good coffee shop, or to have a good coffee shop, you need to be able to serve good coffee. Good coffee beans make a big difference, and getting the milk right, and the atmosphere as well, that makes a difference to a good coffee shop.
Do you think more people